if the Cavs are going to make a trade to upgrade their roster, maybe change who they can have in some of these lineups. Names like DeAndre Jordan, Lou Williams, George Hill have been thrown around. What are you hearing?
First off, yes, the Cavs have had discussions about George Hill. In fact, the Sacramento Kings are having talks with other teams right now to clear roster spots, some of their younger players that they want to send away, because I think they're getting poised to make a deal where they would send George Hill out and bring some players back in. George Hill right now ranks as one of the 50 worst defenders in the league this year. The Kings are the only team in the league that are worse defensively than the Cavs. George Hill's part of the problem. Lou Williams statistically ranks as the second worst defender in the league. Either of those two guys,
right.
Not optional. I'm going to go to a Pat Riley line, Byron. I don't know if you heard it when you played for him. I heard it when I covered the Heat. You have to be an active participant in your own rescue.
I love Byron nodding. He's like, I've heard that.
When he went on a whitewater rafting trip. The Cavs cannot be worried about who could be traded in here. Mm-hmm. They've got to look at themselves. Almost everybody on this roster is underperforming. Mm-hmm. They've got to start playing better in general. And this is what Dwayne Wade's talking about. He put this on Twitter last night. This essentially is a modification of what Pat Riley taught him.
Absolutely. And he's right. I mean, you have to look at yourself first before you can point the blame at anybody else on this roster. And that's including LeBron James. And we know how great he is as a basketball player, but every individual on this team right now has to take an honest look in the mirror and assess your play. And like you said, nobody's playing above, average or above where they should be playing. Everybody's playing a little bit below. So if you do that 12 times, amongst the 12 players, obviously you're going to lose a whole lot of games. We had our plus-minus system in effect as well. And we had that every game and every year to see where you stacked up against the guys who played in your position, also to see what your best year was and try to top every category. Right now, they're satisfied with where they are and where they've been over the past 7 years. And like I said, sooner or later, you can't turn that switch on and it's going to come back and bite you in the butt. But they got plenty of time right now to look themselves in the mirror and say, you know what, we got to make a change, and it starts from the individual first, and then you can start looking at the team.
Well, they got plenty of time till the playoffs start. There's only 2.5 weeks before the trade deadline. Yeah. The indication is they will make some move. I'm going to throw at you what our Hoop Collective podcast guru, Andrew Hahn, was trying to pub on Friday. This was the trade machine plug-in he was doing after Woj's report that the Hornets were shopping Kemba Walker in the hope of tagging also one of their more expensive contracts along with it, Nick Batum, one of their more expensive contracts. He also happens to be a pretty good, wing player who can do some 3-and-D stuff. I mean, Kemba, obviously, in this position, would take Isaiah Thomas. You see him on the other side of that.
I'd like to point out a couple things. Number one, the Hornets had the opportunity and did not dispute Woj's report. Not that anybody would have doubted Woj. Kemba Walker is available. And the question is, with the Cavs and that deal is, would they consider making Isaiah Thomas available? I can tell you this. It's going very poorly with Isaiah and the Cavs right now. There's a lot of frustration within the team because he's a guy who shoots the ball a lot. He holds the ball a lot. And when he's averaging 30 points and shooting 45% from the field, as he did last year for the Celtics, and wasn't playing alongside future Hall of Famers, things went well. Right now, there is a lot of frustration at the way Isaiah is playing on the team. And I wonder, even though it's so early in terms of his return from injury, as you mentioned, the deadline's coming up, I wonder if the Cavs would consider moving Isaiah, and would they put a call into the Hornets to see if they could figure out if they could get Kemba Walker.
Would you make that deal?
I would, if I'm Cleveland.
Also, the Cavs' first-round pick would be in that deal.
In that
as
deal,
well.
yeah. I don't know if you could see everything on the screen, but it's the Cavs' first-round pick, not the Brooklyn pick.
Right. The Cavs can trade, by league rules, Byron, the Cavs can trade their first-round pick or the Nets pick, not both.
Yeah, but I would make that deal because of the fact that Kemba Walker is still very young, and we know he can score a lot like Isaiah, probably a little bit better on the defensive end, and we know that
Couldn't be worse, Byron.
Yeah, exactly, but we know Batum is a defensive player, and he's very, very versatile on both ends of the floor. So I would, yes.
Something to think about.